Hey everybody, welcome to the LifePoint podcast. My name is Phil and I'm joined with our brand new worship leader, Jett Morrow. We're just here to get to know you. How you doing, Jett?
Doing pretty good, Phil. How you doing?
Good. Second day in the office. Not
That's right.
too bad. What do you think?
No, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Some office shenanigans, lots of meetings, you know.
We'll get back to the shenanigans part. But the point of this conversation is just to get to know you. I've known you now, it seems like a couple years, but a lot of people might have seen you up on stage but don't know about you. So let's start from the very beginning. Well, okay, not the very beginning.
Okay.
But just give us a general sense of like who you are, where you come from, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I grew up in Vero Beach. I was born up in North Carolina, but like by the time I can remember, I've always been a Floridian. So I grew up in Vero Beach, it's like 2 hours south of here. Raised in a Church of Christ. I got 4 siblings, one half brother. And then I moved to Nashville, lived there for a year, played some music with my best friend up there, came back down here for schooling, and I've been back down here ever since. And my wife Claire and I, we found LifePoint 2 years ago, started attending. We've loved coming here, and yeah, I'm excited to be on staff now.
We're excited too. I just want to say it was a cool story because I remember you guys came to church like on a Sunday, and that night was Discover LifePoint, that very night. And then you guys came right to that, and it was like from the beginning, it was like, oh, these people belong here.
Yeah, that timing was so perfect because we had been church shopping for a little while, I feel like, if you want to call it that. I know some people don't like calling it that,
sure.
But we had visited a number of churches at that point and went to some of them for multiple weeks, and Claire had found your sermon online. And then we watched the service online, and then we came in person, and like you said, that very night was Discover LifePoint, and we came and everything aligned, and here we are.
I love that. Now, you mentioned Church of Christ background, so that's, some people might not know the significance of that, especially when it comes to music. Tell us a little bit about your sort of spiritual story. How did the Church of Christ, how did your early life develop spiritually, would you say?
Yeah. I feel like I was a know-it-all as a kid, honestly. So like in Sunday school and everything, I was raising my hand trying to answer everything. I feel like I probably knew a lot as a kid. I was raised Church of Christ, so just musically, everything was traditional hymns. There was no instrumentation. We were okay with clapping in the church, but that was about it. So that's kind of what I was raised in. I think I was about 16, and we ended up changing to a Christian church denomination, which is just kind of the brother church of that, with instruments. And so that was my other church experience outside of Church of Christ. I made my way away from the church for a couple of years and found my way back. I feel like a lot of people have, good stories, but that's kind of been my walk of faith, is raised in the church, found myself away, and have now found my way back.
That's awesome. Well, that is the story for a lot of people, especially you get into your 20s. I think it's one of the things that's special about LifePoint, in my experience, is I see a lot of people working their way back to the faith. It's interesting because the Church of Christ, no instruments.
No instruments.
Classic. But the thing is, you're a musician. I don't mean just now that you're a worship leader.
Yeah.
You've been a musician. You have a band, or you have guys and I think girls that you play with, a guy and a girl in the band or something.
Yeah.
And music on Spotify and Apple Music and everything. So was that strange going from no instruments to like, well, I'm a musician? And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you play all of the instruments.
Yeah, just about all the ones on stage. I play, the band instruments, as we'll call it. I started playing piano probably when I was like 5 years old. I didn't take lessons, but my mom played just a little bit of piano, and we had one in the house. I passed down through the family, and so just kind of like playing by ear. I wouldn't say I played the piano. Sure. I noodled around on the piano. But yeah, that was my really only instrument experience for a while, especially raised in a church without any instruments on stage or anything. And then in middle school, I was percussion and band. So then I think that kind of opened up my world of like, oh, look, we got to play a bunch of different things in percussion. Like played a bunch of instruments there. And then my best friend picked up a guitar in high school. And that's when I really fell in love with music at that point. I think him and I playing music together and getting things to a point where like they're tight and they sound so good. Like, it just ramped up my love for music at that point.
And you, if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of your career hopes, right? Is that why you were in Nashville for a little while?
Yeah. So him and I, we had a band, and like you mentioned, our best friend Savannah as well, Delaney and Savannah. Shout out, right, go left. We played music like all throughout high school. We had done that for a long time. When we graduated, we had a CD. We had recorded our own CD in our bedroom.
CD.
You know? Oh yeah, like it was. We didn't call it a demo, but it should have been called a demo.
Yeah.
But we had a little send-off concert. We were selling the CDs, and that was the dream. And I didn't go to the college. I took some gap years of school so that I could pursue music, and I continued playing live around town and recording more music. And eventually, my best friend graduated from Vanderbilt in Nashville, and I went up and we lived together, and we did some music up there for a while. I wish we had done more, honestly. I feel like. Sometimes always looking back on things, you're like, oh, we could have done that better than we did. But it was fun while we were up there.
Part of the learning process.
It is.
Well, now you're in a unique spot where your abilities and talents with music, you can use them now to support your family, like as a career.
Yeah.
And more than just performing, I wanted to say, like, because you play so many instruments, you're going to be doing some teaching as well, like teaching piano, I'm assuming?
Yeah, piano and guitar lessons,
Yeah.
Maybe percussion eventually,
That'd
but
be great.
we'll start smaller and work our way there. So
yeah, you could produce a whole bunch of little Jetts, kind of like that are little musicians.
There we go. Yeah. No, I'm trying to build the next generation of the worship band.
Speaking of that, we got to just mention. So you don't have a little Jett, you got a little Jude.
Got a little Jude.
Jude. How old is he now?
He's 3 months.
Yeah.
Today? What's today? 14th, 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah, like today or tomorrow. He's 3 months. So time's flying because that feels
amazing.
like it was just yesterday we were in the hospital or like anticipating him being here, and it's like now he's already.
It's amazing.
3 months old.
He'll be part of the next generation band. I hope,
absolutely. He's subjected to my music whether he wants it or not.
So let's talk about worship leading for a second. You've been involved in worship leading in the past before in a volunteer capacity, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
And at other churches, and then at here too. When Aaliyah was here, you were on stage. Joel took over. By the way, just got to mention, Joel's done a fantastic job filling in the gap.
He's done amazing.
Yeah,
I love Joel.
Appreciate him. And but now that you're in that role, that official role, like if you had to sum it up, what would you say is the role of a worship leader? What do you hope your role will be in this job?
I think, my job is to. For one, lead the band. I think it's not just me creating an atmosphere or leading people to worship. It's the entire band on stage. So, like, first and foremost, I've got to lead the band members and, make sure that we're doing everything we can do to create the best environment for worship in LifePoint on Sunday mornings. So, like, I'm working with the band nonstop, and I want to make sure that they're not just serving me or the congregation, that we're serving each other. I want to serve them. I want them to serve me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so working with them, and then once we have, I don't want to say product, but like once we have the music where we want it to be, creating that environment where someone walks in and immediately, feels that God is here with us. And it's like God is here with us in this room. There's not a performance going on stage. That we're together. In this worshipness, kind of just an environment of togetherness.
I love that. That's kind of was my next question. Is like, what do you want people to experience? You said a togetherness.
Yeah.
How do you think? Like, how do you accomplish that in music? Because I know, being a musician myself in the past, and I was a worship leader for a little while. We talked about that. It's easy to perform for people.
Yeah.
But leading worship's a little different.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, how do you hope to get that experience so that we're unified?
You're asking the hard questions, Phil.
No. We got to go to the
Oh yeah, we gotta.
It's a hard question at the same time. It's one of the.
It's an important question.
It's an important question for the church, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So, I'm definitely, physically inviting the church. So talking before a song and letting them know the context. Hey, the lyrics of this song are about this, or diving deeper into maybe the passage that song is about, kind of giving them some more context behind songs and inviting people physically, to, to participate in this. I want, during the chorus, I want you guys to raise your hands and really feel this song. or I want you guys to sing every chorus of this song. Like it's all you guys, basically inviting them to partake as much as we're partaking on stage. Yeah. I don't want, like I mentioned before, I don't want it to feel like a performance or a show that they're attending. That's a different kind of a format.
And I would say that it's an easy trap to fall into. I think, I'm sure we've been guilty of it at some point. Sometimes it's easy to accuse larger churches of that. It feels like a concert. Well, in so many levels, there's things that are like a concert, right? I mean, you got lights, you got haze, there's maybe guitar solos, and it's hard to say, well, how do we go from performance to unity? I love the fact that you talked about information, because sometimes we think worship and we use that as interchangeable for music, right? So if you're the worship director, you're the music director, but really it's much more than that, isn't it? You've got to connect people to the words of the songs so that they have that connection to God, not just to the people on stage.
Yeah, maybe they've heard that song 20 times before, but you giving it a little bit of extra context makes it different than all those other times that they had heard it before. And I think on top of that, also just humility on my part and the band's part, and making sure that we have the right posture when we come to worship. Like our hearts are in the right place, because it makes me think about Satan being basically, I feel like, the first worshiper, and him, and original sin coming from pride and not having humility. And so I think it's a very easy trap for worship leaders or band members or just someone on stage to fall into. And it's definitely going to be a focus of mine to make sure I stay humble.
Man, that's such a big thing. And I think, the answer to the question, how do you create this culture of unity of worship? Like, it's not like a 1, 2, 3, but I think right at the heart of it is that humility, because I think humility creates authenticity, and that's a real person up there, and they're being themselves. And when you said about the worship team, like having the right heart posture, such a good thing. What do you have any ways, do you think, to kind of help create that kind of culture for the band to say, like, okay, how do we get the right posture for worship? Obviously, you want it to sound good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want everybody to play their parts, and all that stuff. But then, how do you sort of kind of create that culture for everybody else so that it is a culture of humility there?
Well, I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to serve. So just between me and the band, it's not the Jett show. I want to make sure that everybody's voice is being heard.
Love that.
Everybody has the option to serve. If they want to lead a song, or I'm not opposed to. I don't know. Just I want people to be able to express themselves. I want them to be able to give their opinion of like, hey, I would love to play this song. This song was a really special song for me. I'm really able to connect and worship God with this song. Like I would love to work that in, and not just play the songs that I want to hear,
right?
But make sure that they feel that it's a cohesive effort coming from all of us, not just them having to do what I say. I think that'll help us feel like we're serving one another and also serving our congregation and creating that.
I think it's a great answer, because I think the congregation, it's a sort of subconscious thing, but when the band is unified, it helps everybody else to be unified.
I think so.
And, it hasn't really happened at LifePoint very often, but boy, have I heard stories of the drummer is mad at the keyboard player because the keyboard player is mad at the drummer. And you can't really go up in that attitude. One of the things that I don't know if most people know is that, and we've done this for a while now, but during the worship rehearsal, right after the worship rehearsal, we have a devotional.
I think that's
and prayer for each other. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I gave my first devotional just this past week, it being my first week and all, but I feel like first Evo that I got to lead went really well. I really wanted to focus with the band we actually talked about what you talked about on Palm Sunday, which was the passage of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, and the exact wording in that passage is his disciples and followers shouted with a loud voice. Yeah. That word loud is, you talked about details that you miss on Easter, and I was like, that's a detail in that passage I've never thought about. Like, they were making a scene. They were making a commotion, and the Pharisees are basically saying, Jesus, aren't you going to tell them they're being unseemly
they're
right now. Like
annoying.
They're causing a ruckus. They need to calm themselves. And he says they're doing the right. He essentially says they're doing the right thing. And if they weren't doing that, the stones would cry out. So I don't know, making sure that Devos continue on in that way. I feel like we had a good connection, and everybody also had a moment to speak. I want to make sure it's not just during the Devo me preaching to them, but everybody getting their chance to add in on that topic, and just making sure that we are refreshing our hearts, every week, and making sure that we are in the right place. So
I would say, that's such an important thing. When I was a worship leader, it was like, okay, we got to get the music, and there's almost no time for anything else. But if you have the music without the heart, you don't have the music, really, if you think about it. So I love that about our team, where it's like, okay, I know we're all busy, we might not have got that song perfect or whatever, but let's stop, let's share a little bit, let's hear from the Word, let's pray for each other. I think that's a huge thing as far as, creating that culture.
Yeah, and we really do have an amazing band, because, I feel like everybody was so receptive, very big my first week and all, and that's not something I normally do. I don't know how, I've been there for Devos, but everybody does things differently. Sure. So, but I feel like everybody was, everybody participated. Yeah. Everybody was giving their input and very receptive to the message. And we've got an awesome band here. So I'm appreciative of them.
There's great people, that's for sure, and that goes all the way around. So much of the time you see the people up front on stage, and those people, they work hard during the week, obviously rehearsing, and you've been a part of that. Mm-hmm. But then behind the scenes, they're the same deal. They're here during the week. I bet you most people don't realize, on a Thursday, the band comes for rehearsal. So does the slides person, the lighting person, the sound person, the video person, the audio stream person. They're all here on Thursdays trying to create that thing that's not just a performance, but allows people to connect.
Yeah. Oh, we got an amazing tech crew as well. I just feel like everybody needs to be shouted out and appreciated, because that's one thing that surprised me. Like you mentioned earlier, I played drums every week in my church growing up, and I really wasn't able to attend practices. It was probably a bit of a problem looking back on things. I just work didn't allow it at that time. But it was only the band showing up on Thursday nights, and we did a live stream with that church. So the fact that everybody is there here at LifePoint on Thursday nights, the people behind the live stream, the people behind slides, lights, sound, everybody is there that night, making sure that we have everything we need and that it's all going to be ready to go Sunday. These people really put in time and effort, and I think it really shows. One
thing that I'm excited about, it's not on my list, so I'm hitting you with a off-topic question.
Well,
not totally off-topic.
You didn't send me any questions. I don't know what you're talking about.
I gave you a sense of what we were going to talk about. Is some recording. You definitely are familiar with recording, producing, writing music. Do we hope that there's a maybe LifePoint worship album maybe in the future that we could look forward to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
100%.
Good.
Yeah. We got to figure out the logistics on it, and I want to get my bearings in other areas first. But as soon as I'm feeling ready to do so, and as soon as we've got some originals and covers ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Worship album on the way.
I'm excited about that. The last one we did an EP, I think, back in 2021, but before that it was all the way back in 2005. So it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it.
Now, what's something that people would be surprised to know about you? We've covered the basics, kind of where you're from, spiritual upbringing, music. What's something that most people don't know?
Most people don't know. Something I think that tends to surprise a lot of people. I guess you have to really know me typically is I'm born on Leap Day. So I'm only 7.5 years old. 30 years old, but I'm really only 7.5. So I only have a birthday every 4 years.
That is crazy.
So
I didn't know
always,
that.
That's always an interesting one. For an interesting fact when you're going around in the circle.
Yeah.
I'll be 8 when I'm 32. That'll be nice.
That's funny.
Man, I walk on my toes a bit. That surprises people. I don't know if you've caught me doing it before, but sometimes
I've never noticed that.
You're gonna be looking for it on stage now. You're gonna he's bouncing a little bit. There he goes.
Excuse me. I've been getting over something. Okay, we're about to close the podcast, but we started by talking about office shenanigans. Can you just tell everybody, like, what happened? What exactly happened?
All right, well, first and foremost, I knew it was a prank. No, they got me. The first office meeting, first day in the office, not just first office meeting. Phil walks into the office meeting real nonchalant, like, and goes, Madison, I think it's your turn to pull up the American flag. Why don't you go ahead and pull it up and get us started? Like it was something they do every single week. And of course, you get up and start leading the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm not gonna sit there and just let you guys do the Pledge of Allegiance on your own. So I get up and do it, and I'm glad Madison got that video of me giving you guys some. Yeah,
maybe we'll insert that at the end of this. Yes, it was pretty funny. We thought, Jett's got a good sense of humor. So what can we do? Because if we all started to say the Pledge of Allegiance as if we do it every time before our staff meetings, what's he gonna do? He's gonna assume.
Yeah, that's what we do with every staff meeting.
Well,
I think Matt couldn't keep it together. I think
he gave it away a little bit.
Clued me off a little bit because he goes to stand up and he's just covering his mouth, trying not to giggle. So,
well, anyway, we're glad that you're on the team. I think it's something from our side. We prayed about it a lot. We considered it a lot. At one point, I thought, I don't think it's going to happen because maybe the timing's not right for you. But I'm glad that it's working out for you. I'm excited to see all kinds of things, not just the album. I mean, I like that kind of stuff because I'm a musician. But I'm excited to see some of the things you talked about, creating this culture of humility, creating this culture where the team feels like they're a part of doing something, building that team not just to be great musicians, but to care about each other, things like that, and so many of the other things. So I'm excited.
I'm excited as well.
I'm excited too. All right, thanks for having this little convo with me. Hope that you guys learned a little bit more about Jett. Of course, he's going to be around on Sundays. My suggestion to you is make sure you meet him, get to know him a little bit, offer to take him and his wife and son out to lunch or something like that.
There we go.
Yeah, let's do that. And but I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us today. We'll talk to you soon. To do the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I knew it.